lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, uncut and live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you? Then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by 10th Man, Flatzoid and Sleeping Warrior in G+. How the devil are you all?
Hello, hello.
Hola.
Morning.
Hola, ¿qué tal?
Yeah,
Hello to
chocolate's
everyone.
here.
Also, hello to everyone in Discord. Good to have you also. I don't think I've taken anyone off mute. I'm sorry. I'll be there in a second though. There we go. Slick. Very slick. Hello again, everyone in Discord.
Afternoon.
Afternoon.
Hey, Nathan.
Hello.
Someone's from Somerset. Anyway, any signs of Earth curve?
No.
All flat in South Africa.
Yeah, nothing from Nevada.
Flat in Somerset?
Generally, nothing on Earth.
Yeah, always Earth-based variety, yeah.
Yeah, I might be Somerset, but down in Pembrokeshire, there's definitely no signs of Earth curve.
Ah, Pembrokeshire. My bad. Any signs of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety, of course?
One
Nope.
word. No.
Oh, that's a very distinct no. Really? They claim Earth spins, you know. Anyway, any evidence that you can have gas pressure without necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
Gravity. An absolute no.
No.
What's gravity?
I don't know.
Bending of a conceptual medium.
The same stuff that
Giving
doesn't
rise
exist.
to a force that's not a force, but you could think of
chocolate.
it like a force.
That's the one. Any scientific evidence of that total nonsense?
Eric Verlinde. We've known for a long time gravity does not exist.
Good quote.
It's time to yell it. Oh, by the way, that reminds me. That guy that said that we've known for a long time that gravity does not exist. That's Dr. Verlinde, Eric Verlinde. He's a professor at the University of Amsterdam. I've told Jaren. I said, Jaren, get over to the university while you're in Amsterdam and just get him on. Have a conversation if you can. Got to be worth a punt. That see if you can knock on his door and speak to him and just say, "Hey."
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it would. I've asked Roxanne to pass on the message, but she's the most unreliable person in the whole world, so she probably hasn't done it.
Any evidence?
Otherwise, Nathan will show up there by tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't think I'll squeeze that into my day trip. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No evidence.
No
Just-
apparent distance.
Just a bit of maths. Apparently, maths proves that the tangible distance to the sun is something that is true. A bit like gravity, just a bit of maths.
A bit of math. I ran into your boy Sean G this morning in Discord.
Jesus, you sound like you're at the bottom of a gravity well.
Yeah, you're mine.
I know.
Yeah, Chocolate, I was explaining to them earlier. It sounded like you were saying gravity wasn't existing.
again, Professor?
I said it sounded like G, but Sean G was saying gravity wasn't existing.
Yeah, first he said we don't know the source, and then he said we can see the effects, and like, dude, shut up. It's ridiculous.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Yummy marshmallows over a fire.
No.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
No. Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten
Sorry.
iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No.
No evidence, but a lot of
No.
stories.
12 kilometers, that's it.
Any evidence of the presupposition itself? Yeah, value?
The
No.
Arabic name.
The body of science, Nathan. The body of science, that doesn't work. That's not cool.
No, sorry, chocolate.
Chocolate, you're inaudible, mate.
Well, I heard him. He said body of science.
Yeah, but he's like a 1 out of 10.
Yeah. Body of science does not compel me. Bloody religious zealots. I think that concludes the housekeeping.
Well, we're still got our 7 housekeeping questions that cannot be debunked, and we're going on over around 2 years, right?
Nathan,
Something like that. Sorry, go on.
I want to have a massive moan.
Is it about me?
No, not this time.
It's not about me.
Right. No, it's not about you.
Oh, Max, all yours. Go ahead.
Oddly, you're exempt. Right. I'm gonna promote this moron, right? Not because this is a good video, but because this is absolutely nailing my point absolutely completely. Yet the perspective interpretation by this moron is kind of just, it's just making me feel physically sick. So this guy called Everett Anderson, I blocked him years ago, so I've not seen anything from him. I actually thought he was one of the normal trolls on a troll account. I actually spoke to him yesterday for the first time. Didn't realize he was an actual person. I just thought he was a normal sock account. Anyway, he's done a debunk video, Sleeping Warrior Fails Again. And I'm going to like this video because it's just the epitome of what is wrong with this whole system. I'm going to do this. I'm going to talk about this in the context of this Section 406 of the Education Act. And what I want to remind people of is, if there is a teaching of any subject in the school, including the national curriculum subjects, not just ones that we want to bring up, it's all subjects in the school, guys. Let's be clear, all of them. If it's promoted in a partisan political way, and by virtue of it being on the national curriculum policy, that is a policy of the government, that makes it political, guys. It really does. You don't have to like it, but it does. If it's one-sided and it's promoted as in like the other sides aren't getting a chance to talk about or debate or have proper tuition on the points that are being presented, it's unlawful. It's that simple. It's not difficult to understand this. Look at the context that we can apply it, right? This guy, Everett Anderson, he's only got 182 views on the video. What I want you to do is just consider what I say, and if you agree with me, go and voice your comments on the bottom of this video, because what he's trying to present to me here is 2 citations from somewhere. I don't know where this document is. He might have given me a link in it. 2 pages from the document, and I want to read it because this is absolutely glorious for demonstrating how the promotion of partisan political topics is happening in schools right now. So we'll start with, this is in the context of evolution, right? Evolution against creation and why creation can't be taught. It reads, quote, "The parties acknowledge that the clauses 2.43 and 2.44 of the funding agreement," let's make it full screen, "which preclude the teaching of pseudoscience." So we all know what pseudoscience is. Anything that doesn't comply with scientific method is pseudoscience, and require the teaching of evolution. What you mean? So that complies with scientific method? I don't think so. "Apply to all academies. they explicitly require that pupils are taught about the theory of evolution, because obviously that's scientific method compliance, isn't it? Theory of evolution, and prevent academy trusts from teaching creationism as scientific fact. The next slide says, creationism does not accord to the scientific consensus or the very large body of established scientific evidence, nor does it accurately and consistently employ the scientific method. What, you mean like evolution does, you mean? And as such, it should not be presented to pupils at the academy as a scientific theory. Well, it shouldn't be presented as a scientific theory, but it should be presented to the pupils at the academy because it's required to in the law, just for completion so that they know I'm not cherry picking. The next slide says, the Academy Trust must not allow any view or theory to be taught as evidence-based if it is contrary to established scientific or historical evidence and explanations. That's not what the law says. This clause applies to all subjects taught at the Academy. That's the only true bit in this whole page, because basically what they're trying to say is that the evolution theory is scientific method compliant. However, Section 406 states that you can't promote partisan political views in the teaching of any subject in the school. Well, if they're limiting it to the teachings that are based on scientific method, that means that evolution's got to go out the window as well, because there's no scientific method compliant evolution theory that is able to be presented based on their own rules. But because this promotion of partisan politics in the teaching of any classroom, when it says, this previous slide, when it says creationism does not comply with science, it does not accord with the scientific consensus or the large body of scientific evidence, nor does it accurately and consistently employ scientific method, and as such, it should not be presented to pupils at the academy as scientific theory. No, you're right. It shouldn't be presented at the academy as scientific theory, but it should be presented at the academy as the balanced opposing view, and it should get an equal and opposing status by virtue of the provisions of Section 407, because where evolution is taught as one-sided, promoted, partisan political, then creation has to be offered a balanced presentation of opposing views, regardless of whether it complies with scientific method or not. So the change in the standard of the burden of, or the standard of evidence to compliant with scientific method, even though evolution doesn't comply with it, and they're ruling it out on the basis that it shouldn't be presented as scientific views. No, I agree, it shouldn't be, but it should be presented as an opposing view, because neither of them comply with scientific method. So what an absolute total, like a brilliant example of a non-compliant, legally a legally flawed document, and this guy's using it to try and claim that I was wrong. Actually, this is the bloody problem, Everett Anderson. The people that are trying to get into the system, flat earthers or whatever, we're not the risk. The risk is the people that are already in there, that are infiltrated it. And we're trying to say, look, if it doesn't comply with scientific method, it shouldn't be in. And what you've actually demonstrated is that evolution shouldn't be in the syllabus at all. And if creationism isn't supposed to be getting taught because it's not scientific, then, well, that breaches the rule, because if evolution is being taught because they say it does comply with scientific method, the creationists are allowed to present a balanced presentation of opposing views, regardless of whatever this document is. I'd love to know what this document is. I don't think he's put a... Oh, maybe he has. I'm going to have to go and have a look at this now and see what this relates to.
Before you do, though, just go back to the slide with it, and then where it says creationism, you can essentially discount scientific consensus on account of the fact that that's a reification fallacy. Science is a method. Now, they contradict themselves in the next sentence because they say scientific evidence. Well, scientific evidence is hypothesis-based experimentation to establish cause and effect. That is what scientific evidence is, regardless of this reification fallacy scientific consensus. Like, science can suddenly talk to another science and get a consensus. No, people can do that, what they call scientists. So the people consensus can, well, I won't say what you can do with that, but nevertheless, they make it explicitly clear in the next breath, which is scientific evidence. Yeah? It then makes it even further clear when it says the word scientific method. Well, we know what the scientific method is: observe a natural phenomena, Formulate a hypothesis with independent and dependent variables, otherwise known as your cause and your effect, and a null, and then validate or invalidate what you presume caused the effect by way of systematic experimentation. That's the scientific method. So in place of creationism, you could put heliocentrism, and that would absolutely
and
stand
evolution.
true. Yeah, and evolution. I was gonna list them off, but yes, you've done it for me. But yeah, heliocentrism is ultimately, or the Copernican model, if you want to bring it in line with what your paper says. You could literally stick the Copernican model, or the Copernican model, does not accord with a reification fallacy drawn by the person writing this paragraph, or the very large body of scientific evidence, as there is none for the Copernican model, nor does it accurately and consistently employ the scientific method. Models can't go through the scientific method. They aren't establishing cause and effect. They are, like the first sentence in this paragraph, reification fallacies. And as such, it should not be presented to pupils. I completely agree, because if the standard for creationism is that it's not meeting scientific evidence and doesn't adhere to the scientific method, neither does heliocentrism. Neither does
evolution.
You keep taking the words out of my mouth, and neither does evolution. Correct.
So let's be clear, because what he's saying is his point of this video is, if it opens the floodgates to any moron that can go into the schools and teach whatever nonsense they want. Well, it seems to me that the morons are already in the schools preaching the nonsense that we want, and we're trying to stop it. But either he's stupid and doesn't realize that he's the problem, or he just basically he has to be stupid. The problem is that the people are already in the schools teaching pseudoscience, and we need to get rid of the pseudoscience. We need to stop telling kids that the sun's 93 million miles away because it doesn't triangulate on any model. We need to stop telling kids that gravity is a force. It isn't a force, according to the current science. It's an effect. We need to stop teaching kids that the Earth's got a molten iron core when the deepest hole we've ever dug is only 8 miles. What the hell's going on here? Why can't people see that this is fundamentally the reason why I'm kind of beating my drum? Because this is clearly evolution, it's clearly heliocentrism, and this is the point. So this guy's trying to debunk me, and we're not even trying to get in. We're trying to get the people that are in there out, because they are. Well, I don't know what the word is. They're just viruses.
Did you watch that video I posted, Anthony? Did you watch that?
Yes, I did.
Very relevant to this, wasn't it? Very relevant to what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was crazy. I thought you would definitely love that, because it even tied it back to the Scopes trial, all the way back to, creationists being called crazy. But, I mean, there's more evidence even in that video showing that there's more evidence of intelligent design than evolution, but they were trying their best to try to stop it, even in the courts here in the U.S.
Yeah. I mean, they were arguing over whether science, or whether what came first, was it creationism, or what could intelligent design, whatever, could intelligent design, they were arguing over it, like Darwinian against intelligent design. And this isn't even about creationism over Darwinism. This is literally about what are kids being taught. Is it one-sided brainwashing? And it absolutely is. What's happening is these morons that are trying to unpick the arguments are actually giving me more evidence and more ammunition, kind of doing the work for me. Evolution and creationism are another example where pseudoscience, or basically the stuff that the law stops from happening. Look, it says anything that is 406, quick. Anything that's being taught in schools, anything that's being promoted that's partisan political, let's be honest, evolution is. They should be getting taught creation as an alternative, and they should be encouraged to say, hey, maybe it's not evolution after all. Because if at the end of the day, if evolution can't comply with scientific method, and that's the standard that they're putting in that document, then ultimately it should be removed, because that's the rule that they're putting in place. But overall, this law applies, and it applies to all topics in any teaching on any subject in the school. And we can see that evolution is promoted. It is one-sided. It's clearly political, because it's the state, it's the implementation of a government policy, and it's the view as well. So all of this is applied. This applies everywhere, guys. I'm getting off me. I'm stopping beating my drum now. Am I still here?
Yeah. Just waiting to see if anybody else challenges what you've got to say.
Yeah, I invite anybody on the ball their side. If you think that you can support and you can defend your glorious religion, bring it on. I will discuss this with anybody because you are all morons. You are brainwashed morons pushing pseudoscience.
The trouble is, you might just get a reaction to that poke calling them morons, as opposed to anyone with any actual challenge. Maybe you could go through some of the challenges that have come so far, and their credit and their invalidity. Is that the correct word?
To be honest, the only one that's really challenged me properly at the minute is Gem Panda. He's the only one that seems to have spotted the point. I mean, the initial challenges were based on whether or not the Earth's flat or not, and I'm like, guys, it's not anything to do with whether the Earth's flat or not. It's to do with whether or not the kids are being taught stuff that's nonsense. I mean, whether you agree with the Earth being a ball or flat or otherwise, it doesn't mean that. It's not even the point. The point is, are they being taught a balanced education, a non-biased education? Are they being taught stuff that is credible? They're not. They're being literally like kettled into one corner, and they go, here, have a bit of evolution. Here, have a bit of heliocentrism. Here, brainwash this. Here, brainwash that.
Yeah, nonsense.
He didn't really fill in the gaps much. He said Gem Panda got the point. So what was his challenge then in that regard?
Well, basically, he was arguing over the word political. I mean, he says that it's not political because there's no politicians involved, or I'm not really sure how his argument was, but for me, politics derives from the word policy, and political, policy, politics, it's all the same thing. Anything to do with the state of the government or the implementation of the government or anything that affects society through the government, anything to do with the government. And obviously the national curriculum is a policy of the government. It's not exempt from the law. You can argue that it's not political. The judge expressly stated that it was not limited to party political, didn't say what it was, but tells us what it's not. Gem Panda argues that it's basically party political, doesn't really argue that doesn't really provide a credible alternative for whatever it is. And the reality is we don't actually know what political means in this context because the judge unfortunately didn't define it, but nonetheless it doesn't stop us asking the question.
I mean, yeah, the judge isn't going to bring his definition into question, and obviously this is a legal paper. But there is a definition for political relating to the government or public affairs of a country.
Yeah, and we can all have an opinion about what's political or not, and that's kind of that's the topic. People will talk about what's political or not, but remember, the judge said it's not limited to party political. And if you're going to implement or you're going to talk about something that's the implementation of a policy of the government, i.e. the national curriculum, I can't see how that cannot be political, to be honest with you.
Sorry,
sure.
I just want to understand the opposing argument. So he's saying it's not going through the decision-making process. It's not in the hands of policy decision makers, i.e. Political officials. Therefore, it's not political. But in essence, what is his distinction, or the distinction Gem Panda's missed, is that would make it party political.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to argue, that it's not political. It just isn't. Well, and I don't really understand how he defines that it isn't.
Sorry. No, from what I've just gleaned from what you've just told me, he's arguing that it's not going through the process. Well, that if it's going through the process, it's party political. It's actually being dealt with at party level, as opposed to implied, or like we give an example when we're talking amongst ourselves with Jamie Oliver. He's talking about school dinners. Well, is school dinners voting Labour? No, of course it's not. It's not in the slightest bit. If you want to pigeonhole it in the way Gem Panda has, that's not political, right? Well, yeah, it is, because it's being discussed amongst the people, and Jamie Oliver's talking about it. So just by talking about something, and is he going to say no? Unlike Jamie Oliver, flat Earth and the Copernican model aren't being talked about. Yeah, you're not going to really get that to fly. It's an issue that's just not party political, even if that was relevant, because you've got a specific distinction in 406 that says it's not limited to party political. No, it's in the Dimmock case, isn't it?
Yeah.
In the Dimmock case, my bad. Anyway, there's a very specific distinction that says it's not limited to party political issues, i.e. things that are going through the political process.
And I tell you what's amazing. It's amazing how everybody on the ball Earth side suddenly becomes experts in evidence, right? But for some reason, when it comes to the heliocentric model, they're really crap at evidence and they're really good with rhetoric. But when it comes to this, they become experts in evidence and they seem to instantly apply the rules of evidence, which is great because it shows that they can apply it. So why don't you do it to the problems with the heliocentric narrative, like the evidence that stops the gas pressure from bursting off into space? Where is that evidence, guys? If you're going to challenge me on one element of this, that's great. That's good for me. I want you to do that, and I encourage it. It's healthy debate. I'm open for it. But why won't you answer what force is it that bursts gas pressure off into the depths of space? Because Newton says for an object in motion will remain in motion unless acted upon by a force. Well, we know that we've got gas pressure. It's pushing up in all directions from the ground, right? That is happening. So what force is it that stops it that slows it down from bursting off into space? We need a force. Guys.
Newton's laws of motion were not right, but it's not that you need a force. You need an area to press upon to have pressure, not force. You need an area. That's how you calculate how much pressure you actually have. The force over a given area. So the area is the critical bit, not the force bit. The fact that they use a religious assertion of a not force that's giving rise to a force that you can think of as a force by way of a bending of a conceptual medium, that horse shit is irrelevant of what gas pressure would actually require. By its nature, it fills the available volume that it has to fill. And the thing that distinguishes how much it's got to fill is the walls of a container. Now, if there are no walls, it's just going to expand into whatever other space it's got beyond that until it does. That's how it works. If you've got a never-ending void, a vacuum of the sky, otherwise known as outer space, then the gas would fill that space.
Yes. And it's not okay to keep ignoring it, guys. We're asking for the evidence. And just because you go, nah, doesn't mean it's going to go away. Just because we keep asking it every day and we get nowhere, doesn't mean it's going to go away. We want to see the science that explains how this is possible, please. Please present your science. Otherwise, it ain't true. It's that simple. If you can be that evidence-based against me, I want you to be that evidence-based against your own model, please. Stop being hypocritical.
I had to jump off. That's why I couldn't respond a minute ago. But I wanted to just to say back on the video, what started the lawsuit? Do you remember what started the lawsuit, Anthony? What they said?
It was right at the very beginning of I can't remember what he said.
That's the critical part. You get lost in the minutia, but all there was a statement from the school system saying there's holes in evolution and that we need to look at alternatives.
That's right.
That's all it was.
That's basically what the law requires us to do in England. Tell the children that there are opposing views, but they don't do it. They hide the opposing views. Right.
Well, and that's what spawned the lawsuit. The evolutionists came out of the woodwork. Did you see that one part too? There was a guy that was writing a paper regarding this, and he was sitting in the tower in Iraq, I think, while the bombs were shelling, and he was trying to make a decision to whether to send this paper because he knew it was going to cost him his career, and he didn't know what it was going to cost him to send that paper off. And then the bombs kept hitting closer and closer and closer. He says, you know what, there's no guarantee of tomorrow. And he hit enter, and it sent it. And then, of course, a firestorm started. He started being ridiculed and started being trying to be discredited, trying to help support what he was doing in the lawsuit. That tells you the state of affairs, very much so, that he's worried about his career.
What's really bad is that this guy even realized that he was going to lose his career if he pursued this, and he was blackballed. That's basically what happened. And the fact is that the evolutionists came out like religious fanatics. That's what basically happened. And I just realized that, that's just like the heliocentric idiots. They come out like religious fanatics and then project their own beliefs of us onto us. The way they behave is the way they accuse us of. I don't want to sound like a well-known prominent figure or slick. I don't have beliefs. It's not necessarily that I don't have beliefs. It's that I realize that you guys can't prove that we're tipping backwards at sunset to cause the earth, the sun to go down. We're not tipping backwards. The sun appears to go down, and you can't prove that it's not. But you tell everybody that it is, and I want to see proof. And you can't prove it. All you can do is pendulums. or other nonsense points that don't prove that the Earth's turning. So show us the proof that the Earth's turning. You haven't got any, have you? Just admit it. You can't do it.
No, they can't. Or we wouldn't be here. On a different subject, I got Ranty's camera to give to Arwin.
Do you know what? If Arwin doesn't go on that bus, don't bloody give him that camera. Let's make it political. Hey, see how that becomes political? When it's not even political.
That's a stretch. Political in our little circle, maybe.
Don't give him the camera if he doesn't go on the bus. He's told people, he's took money off people to go on the bus now, and he's trying to change his mind. And I'm like, that's Weasley Arwin.
The camera was given with no conditions.
Right.
Yeah, but the money he was given money. Come on, Arwin.
That's not my problem.
I was going to say.
That's not my issue.
Well. Anyway,
I'm sure it'll be such a joyous occasion now. I'm glad it's been tarnished by this. Thanks, Arwin.
Hey, Riley. Why don't you actually
Hey,
pay
Arwin.
attention to everything I've said in the last two hangouts? Okay.
Well, I've not seen them, so all I've heard is
yeah,
that you don't want to go
exactly.
on.
So you're just blatting it out there. I'm dealing with some freaking situation
Yeah, well, that's a good thing.
psychologically, okay? So stop peer pressuring me, please.
No, I will.
It's
peer
only
pressure.
making things worse.
No, I will peer
I
pressure.
haven't eaten in 3 days, Riley.
You haven't eaten in 3 days?
Yeah,
Why?
freaking anxiety.
It's a driving a bus, man.
That's funny.
It'll make a man of you.
No, it's not about that.
Arwin, you need to eat, man.
It's about the certainty of it. I've prepared for the conference and I'm going there. I am going to go there today. I've prepared for that for half a year.
What
Okay,
prep
this
have you
was
done?
sprung on me freaking 2 days ago. I can't deal with that kind of shit. I just can't.
Prepared for it for
Break.
half a year.
When it happens.
Man, I haven't done anything. My wife booked my ticket. I haven't even printed off the itinerary.
Baby steps, Arwin. Baby steps.
And
I
Nathan
really would
sounds as
appreciate
calm
the
as a
camera
breeze.
because I have a lot of plans for it.
Again, chocolate.
I said, you sound as
Also, I
calm as a
offer
breeze.
my public to give back the money if they wanted it, or for me to be able to reinvest it into something else show related. Like,
Yeah, but
for
the problem you've
example-
got out, I think somebody else has been rearranged so that you could have that slot so that it would make the rest of the trip run easy for them, easier.
Why didn't they ask that before they did? They sprung me onto me 2 days ahead of time.
I don't know that that's what's happened. I suspect that's what happened. I suspect that's the reason why they asked you, because you were in the area, it was local to you, and it was probably beneficial to both sides if you did. But I think somebody might have benefited by you going on that thing. They could go put somebody else in somewhere else. I think they'll have a jiggle around now to make it work, whatever. But anyway, it's up to you, Arwin.
Yeah, well,
It'd
I
make a
still
man of
don't
you.
know what I'm gonna do with it. I just know that I can't practically pack for a week. It's just impossible. It doesn't fit. So whatever is gonna happen, if I am gonna go along with them, maybe impromptu. I don't know how far. I don't know. I just know that I can't take this pressure anymore from everyone. Like, this is the ultimate adventure for me, and I'm just dying under the pressure here. That's my experience of that. I'm not getting the enthusiasm of it. I'm just getting pressure.
Chill out.
Even though the idea, looking from a calm perspective, does kind of seem kind of neat. So
Let's just do it. Stop whinging.
God, what?
Yeah.
Just do it then and stop whinging.
Yeah, just do it.
What is that?
Whinging, moaning.
Whinging.
Huh?
Stop moaning. Bloody hellfire.
Just do it, Arwin. It'll make a man of you.
There's no need. Right. Arwin's plenty man enough. Right. If you're anxious about it, don't be. It's a breeze. It's just going to be a bit of driving. What's the big deal? There's nothing to be anxious about. If you're anxious because everyone's saying you need to do this, you need to do that, make sure you get pictures, blah, 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 then just don't sweat it. You know, do it at your own pace, but don't let people pressure you.
All right. Sure. Why not?
true.
You know, I'll just go eating again and not be nauseated half the day. Okay, sure.
Yeah, just go with it. It'll be fine. Pack as much as you can carry.
Right,
If you've
that's
only
how
got
it
3
works.
days,
Exactly.
if not having enough stuff means you could give up after 3 days, at least you tried. But whatever, just go with the flow. Don't worry, don't let it stress you out. That's the worst thing. If it's stressing you out, whatever's causing that, if it's people putting pressure on you to do this and that, just tell them to sod off. But the enjoyable bit is the actual trip. And if that becomes stressful, then yeah, I don't blame you, don't go. But don't allow it to be. It's your experience. Don't allow it to be. You're in control of what's going on here, Arwin. Just take a bit of control. Get a grip. Fuck's sake. Sorry, excuse my language. And have fun. It's going to be fun. Blah, blah, blah. Plus, I've got a camera here to give you. So, you know, don't let that be tarnished. You can do it. I've already had a little look at it. Nice. It's a really, really nice camera. I'm really jealous. I want to keep it. So if you can give me an excuse not to give it you, that'd be quite cool. I'll keep it. No, I'm only joking. Obviously, I'm going to hand over that camera to you with great delight. But it's just one of them. Things are looking up, Arwin. Things are looking up. Things are looking Arwin. That's the one. Things are coming up, Arwin. That's the one. I think this could be almost a new record. There's nearly 200 people watching this show, right? And this is on the second channel. I typically say things like, this show goes out to a limited audience. Wow, there's almost 200 people watching.
And none of them can even define what gravity is. But everyone can believe it. Do you know what's? And most of them think that the Earth tips backwards at sunset to cause the sun to go behind the horizon, right? Can't prove it, but they all seem to believe it. Why would you believe such stuff when there's no evidence for it? Prove that the Earth's turning, and then we can believe it. Then we can have a good conversation. Otherwise, the Earth's not turning.
Yeah, they only know how to beg the question. Automatically assume Earth's turning and then start from there, make their examples, let you argue about their examples rather than proving their presupposition. That's all they've got. It's always been the same.
So true as well. Masters at begging the question. I just can't understand how they can be like masters at like understanding the points or getting their heads around the points in that paper, but they can't apply that critical thought to their own model when they know that they can't even. It just defies belief. These people are absolutely stupid or just dishonest. There's no other word for it.
Got a few new people in Discord. My bad for not paying attention and taking you off mute. Hello.
Just pick on one of them, Nathan. Let's see if we can get them to get a definition of gravity out of them.
Who wants to
just kick them all?
Who wants to define gravity in the Discord server? Anybody? Any takers? Share your
Just tell
pain.
us it's a force. Pick on one, Nathan. If they don't respond, kick them out.
Nah, it's Fun Time Friday. Man, you want to cause anxiety today.
I was just gobsmacked at that paper that guy cited, that Everett Anderson. That document saying that pseudoscience should be banned unless it's evolution, in which case we'll push it. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You think that pseudoscience, you think that evolution is science? We need to have a fight with these guys somehow.
I'd just try that again as I've seen what Paul's queued up. So, who wants to define
evolution?
Who wants to define gravity in the Discord server? Can't hear it, Paul.
Yeah, gravity. I got you. I can do that for you.
We didn't hear it. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to get the sound to come through.
Don't worry about it. It's all good. I put it up on screen.
Let me send it to you, Nathan, so you can play it.
No, it's all right. The moment's past, Paul. Honestly, don't worry. So, are you in Amsterdam, Anthony? Can't hear you.
I didn't see him on the bus pictures yesterday.
I don't know if he'd be going as a tourist. Must have popped himself on mute and doesn't realise.
Hmm.
On a more positive note, are you excited to be going to Amsterdam?
Me?
Yeah.
What do you think?
You sound pretty excited.
Christ, I
Alan.
haven't eaten for 3 days. Yes. Just no. I was always gonna go. That's not the issue. The conference is not the issue. Absolutely not.
Hey,
And
QE.
I don't know what's gonna happen yet. I feel anxious. It's just I don't know.
Nothing will happen. You only will get
know.
tagged by the CIA.
Just chocolate gets me, right? You get me.
Bro, I understand. People have traveling, anxiety. I get it.
Yeah. I even
I
had
know
that with
people-
my own freaking family, So
Yeah, but you have to eat. You got to calm down, man. You can't just not eat for like 4
I
days.
know that, but that is
That's not
also
good.
the part of it that kind of worries me.
Well,
I want to eat again.
So eat, bro.
Anyway, yeah,
calm
get a
yourself
grip.
I got some edibles with me for the conference at least, and
Nice.
if finally my appetite comes back to me, I'll just try to see if I can score a good meal at an organic restaurant or something, or I don't know.
Anyway, hello, Quantum Eraser.
Hey, I got 2 words for Arwen.
Fuck off.
No need.
Sorry.
Wow.
I'm only joking.
Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
No, alcohol's the worst.
Well, let's halve that problem. Say rum instead.
No, I'm not gonna get not a drop this weekend. It's a bad idea.
Hey, John.
Hey,
Does
Tony.
evolution comply with scientific method, John?
What's
Oh.
evolution?
Just bring up your slide. That slide the guy had on his. Can you do that? Can you go back to that video and just go to that slide, please? I don't know if you were watching earlier, Quantum Eraser.
John, the mic sounding good, bro.
Thank
Oh
you.
yes, I was going to mention that. You sound exceptional, as opposed to just, well, terrible.
Yeah, I had enough of that other mic. It was starting. The headphones were starting to break down. Can you believe it? After a week.
Well, whatever you've got going on now, this is perfect. Just keep doing this. You sound great. How's your GoFundMe coming along?
It's stalled right around 548, but that's okay. That's fine.
John, check this out. Can you see my screen, John? John?
Hold on. Go ahead.
Okay, so this guy called Everett Anderson, I had him blocked years ago. He was one of the first people that I came across that was just a moron. So I blocked him ages ago. And he wanted to challenge me on the paper that I've written. And this is what he's presenting as a debunk, right? It's an official document from the Department for Education. And this is what he's claiming debunks my position, right? This actually works in my favor massively because this illustrates the actual problem that I'm trying to attack. Listen to what it says. The parties acknowledge that the clauses 2.4 and 2.43 and 2.44 of the funding agreement, so bear in mind funding agreement, money, which preclude the teaching of pseudoscience and require the teaching of evolution, apply to all academies. They explicitly require that pupils are taught about the theory of evolution and prevent academy trusts from teaching creationism as scientific fact. Creationism does not accord with the scientific consensus or the very large body of established scientific evidence, nor does it accurately and consistently employ the scientific method, and as such it should not be presented to pupils at the academy as a scientific theory. But when we go to the definition in the Act of what's prohibited, if you promote a partisan political view, well, evolution is the national curriculum. I'm going to say that policy is a political view. It's clearly being promoted, and it is one-sided by definition in the Dimmock case. The evolution process or the theory of evolution is completely complying with or breaching the rule at 406. They can't promote evolution because it's a partisan political view. And if they do that, the provisions of 407 apply, which is that creationism, the balanced opposing view, has to be presented. So they're not putting creationism into the document because they say it doesn't comply with scientific method, but they're inferring somehow that evolution is complying with scientific method. It's completely illegal.
Go back to the first part of the paragraph. Let's go through it.
The parties acknowledge that the clauses 2.44 and 2.43 of the funding agreement, right? Funding agreement is money, which preclude the teaching of pseudoscience. Oh, really?
Oh, they're screwed. Stop right there.
Yeah.
Oh, they're done for. Go on.
And require the teaching of evolution applied to all academies.
Stop. What is evolution?
A theory.
They can't tell you that. They will never be able to tell you that. That is a fairy tale. Go on.
Are you not seeing this on screen?
I am.
Okay.
Just read it and stop.
Apply to all academies. They explicitly require that pupils are taught about the theory of evolution.
Stop. There is no scientific theory of evolution. It does not exist. Continue.
And prevent academy trusts from teaching creationism. Why not creation? Creationism. That's interesting.
The scientific fact is there is only creation. Everyone knows it. There was a beginning. So these guys are off the rocker. They're promoting, like the other day, somebody brought it up, the dichotomy of evolution and creationism. That's a false dichotomy. Evolution isn't in there. And the scientific community, quote unquote, knows that creation is the only answer.
Over the page, it says
Continue.
Creationism. Is that even a word? I've not come across that before. Creationism does not accord with the scientific consensus. Like that.
Stop. There is no such animal as scientific consensus. If it's consensus, it isn't science.
Yeah.
Continue.
Or the very large body of established scientific evidence.
Really? We have a large body of scientific evidence of what?
I guess a donkey fish morphed into a reptile of some kind.
What is that?
Missing, I would say.
What? No. What is that?
Well, that would be empirical evidence if there was evidence of a donkey fish turning
empirical evidence of what?
That would be evolution, would it not? Change of
How
kind.
in the hell can a donkey morphing have anything whatsoever to do with whether we were created or not? This is non sequitur from the Black Lagoon.
We need to address this somehow. This is this is supposed to be a debunking of my position, but this is actually the problem, and he doesn't realize it. So he's arguing, his position is that if we open the floodgates by allowing flat earth to be taught, then what other morons are going to get into science? And my position is the morons are already in science and they're pushing pseudoscience. We're not the problem. We're the solution. He's like,
I have scientific evidence of creation. I presented it like 10 times already on this channel. Do we want to go for 11th?
Well, that might be the case, but with that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on Nathan Oakley, then this is where we bid you farewell. But if you are watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. A massive, huge, enormous thank you to all of today's debating panel for making this live show possible, and of course, massive thank you to all of you in the live audience for hopefully smashing the super chat, as David Rakia Gifford did. Says, teaching kids opposite of Rakia life should hold a life in jail term. Massive thanks to Dave for smashing the super chat. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!